Steve, can you show me how Bigfoot runs?
Sasquatch runs like this. It's getting late in the day. Last light's coming up. And I just noticed down the bank here on the way down to the river, a trail that I did not know existed. And it goes, so during the summer months, it's very thick bush all down here. And it's interesting to see these trails. I'll show it to you. And then I'll show you, now that I've had the clue, the hint, where this trail is, and it's easy to look across the old dirt road here and find out where the rest of the trail goes up to the thick stuff. But check this out. So, this 100% isn't, so this isn't by humans. This is all animal traffic. It's pretty significant. So you can see it comes down here, winds through there, around there, and all the way up, around there, and around there, and it goes right down to the bank of the river. See that? I would never have known that tunnel. It would have been a tunnel in the summertime, but that is a very significant trail, not used by humans. And if you go across the gravel road, and it's real thick here, right? See all that thick forest? Well, now that I know there's a trail there, I just start looking for the signs over here, and there's the sign. So you see the bark's worn off this log right here, telltale sign, and there it goes. And there's the trail, scooting up the bank and around that big cedar tree, and up you go. Cool, eh? So I'm guessing bears would be using that like crazy, and whatever else. But that is a hidden game trail that I've been by this trail I don't know how many times, and I just noticed it for the first time. Now all the leaves are gone. Anyway, down the river we go. It's getting close to the witching hour. Witching hour meaning last light in the evening. It's funny, I can totally see the game trail, bear trail, whatever trail you want to call it, goes right in along the river edge here in that thick crap. Definitely is going to catch that one that goes out the bank. But anyway, quick word. I always have to share some thoughts, always, besides this topic. At the same time sharing this topic. There's just too many people, good people out there listening. And I got to share this with you real quick. I'm going to get on to sharing, getting some voices heard. But just so you guys know, I don't watch the news. I do not watch mainstream news on television. I don't watch television at all, period. I don't watch it. I saw through the bullshit a long, long time ago. And for me, if I see bullshit, I'm done. I'm done. You know, what I'm proposing to everybody, possibly, hopefully I can motivate as many people as possible to do this. What I'm about to explain is it's time to encourage your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers to not be scared. Okay? That's what it's time to do. It's time to not be scared. It's time to not be scared of each other. And like I said earlier, people come up to me, you say hello to me, you're going to shake my hand. Because I'm not scared. I haven't been scared at any time throughout this entire past couple years where our mainstream news, which is owned and ran by our governments, have intentionally been keeping our communities terrified of each other. That's not even debated. But I'm going to share this fact. The fact is, you can Google it up. Our current government in power they took $600 million of ours and gave it to the Canadian media. Google it up. All right? They called it whatever they call it, a bailout. Because the media needs a bailout, right? There's only one reason a government gives any main news source $600 million, and that is to control the narrative of what gets delivered to the people, and that's the only thing that's there to do. So anyway, I'll hurry up and get on with what I'm trying to get on with, so we can get on sharing voices. But what I'm saying is, we flicked on the news by absolute accident the other day. We got stuck on a news channel on the smart TV that Sarah has set up, and it caught about less than 2 minutes of the news, and it was 100% geared up to scare the shit out of you. That's all it was doing. And we looked at each other and went, holy shit, man. You know, if you did not watch the news today, it's life as usual. There's nobody's scared of each other. Everybody's doing the exact same shit they've been doing since time again. The majority of us, except for those poor souls who cannot help themselves, can't think for themselves, and run around scared shitless because they're told to. So what I'm getting at is, if you could all please start encouraging and sharing bravery and stomp out the scared part, all right? There's no reason for us to be scared of each other, period. There's no reason. And I really would just pray to God and hope and wish that all of you take the same stance. Start now. Drop that silly, ridiculous, humiliating, fist bumping, elbow tapping. Start shaking hands and show each other that you got each other's back and you support each other and you're not scared of each other. You have to do that. You have to go against what the mainstream narrative has been trying to push on everybody, and that's to be scared of each other, scared of your neighbors, scared of your family members. All right, that's one of the easiest steps to getting the shit show back on track, is quit being scared. Please. All right? Quit being scared. Teach everyone you can. Show everyone bravery and support. Okay? Show everyone you're not scared of them. Show everyone you've got their back and that we are all one. All right? That's very, very important. Now, got that out of the way. That's a very important topic for me today, and I'm really going to start encouraging and sharing bravery to as many people as I can every single day of my life. Starting days ago, I'm going to start making brave mainstream, not scary. Okay? You have to do that. Now, quick note. I don't know if you can see it, that big boulder in the water right there. Well, last summer, the edge of the water was about, God, I think it was about 6 feet past that in the summertime, and that's when I was videotaping those bears, and that's why you could see all those rocks and all those boulders against that shoreline where I possibly got a photograph of that face. And a lot of people said, well, that's not even the same shoreline, there's no boulders. Well, that rock right there is about 4 feet high from the ground up, and it's got about, it looks like there's about a foot of water over it right now. And I think it was a couple weeks ago, there was about 3 feet of water, or 4 feet of water over top of that thing. So I thought I'd point that out. Everything too about the river behind me. I finally took my salmon roe out of the freezer yesterday. That's exciting. That means I am getting very close to going steelhead fishing. And I got my dye, my cure, and as soon as that's thawed out, I'm going to cure it up. And then I got one other tidbit, a hint of a news coming up, is our lovely Sarah, my partner, who does not like to be in front of the camera unless she's catching a fish. We've been slowly putting together a YouTube channel that she is going to have. She is an absolute incredible cook. Very lucky to have that woman in my life, except my belly isn't, because I swear to God, she tries to make me fat all the time, but she's a very incredible cook, and she's putting together a whole pile of cooking to go onto her channel. I'm not going to say the name of the channel yet, but I'm just giving you a heads up. It's almost ready to launch. And that's pretty cool. So there's going to be all sorts of stuff in there. I'm even going to throw some stuff in there. I'm going to show you guys how to smoke salmon without having a smoker. If you don't have one, you would have the money for one. You can still do it. You can smoke anything. But we're going to show you what we do, what we cook, and share that with all of you. Everything, you name it, we're going to do it. It's going to be very, very helpful. Very delicious and simple and healthy, good. And I believe everyone will enjoy that without a doubt. That's coming up. I told her possibly this Friday we might be able to make it go live, maybe. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, that's all my babbling. Let's get on with getting some important voices heard now, all right? Okay, this is titled Elkheart Experience. Hello, Steve. This is my small experience in something in the woods. I'm no badass hunter, angler, or bushman like the rest of the folk on your channel. Just a very curious person, even more so nowadays. My family and I were staying at a KOA, an RV/campground in Elkheart, one word, Elkheart, Indiana. We were visiting from out of state to see our tribe's powwow, Potawatomi, if you're curious. The campground is just on the side of a highway with a small meadow/stream crossing under the highway. The stream flowed up to the perimeter of the campground and kind of curved around the place. So one evening I grabbed my camera to try to take some pictures of orbs and a flashlight, then headed down to the campground's gazebo that was right in the stream. That was, give or take, 100 yards from the campground. It was a great evening to be out, about 75 degrees. Frogs and crickets were singing their tunes with a nice bright moon. The spot where the gazebo was in between the stream and the highway, which was a max 100 feet away. Comes important later. In a V shape. The campground must have used this area as a burn area because there was a large burn mark and everything had to be cut back to the tree line. Humming to myself, I started taking pics for I'm not sure how, like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I was hoping to do a bit of stargazing once it got dark enough. Then I noticed it. I couldn't hear any frogs or crickets, or even the highway traffic, which had been slow but steady. I went from chill to full alert in a few heartbeats. I thought a wild boar or cougar maybe was lurking around. I've heard stories of the woods going quiet when a predator is in the area, but I didn't understand why I could hear the cars going by anymore. I didn't see anything that would be the source of the sudden loss of all sound, but my gaze drifted towards the tree line and started to snap some pics. Dude, I saw a puff of breath come out of some bush. It looked exactly like the kind of breath you had on a really cold day, but it was only 75-ish degrees. Nowhere near cold enough for that to happen. And if it was, I'd be doing the same. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but like I said, I'm a curious dude. I started to walk towards the trailhead that was in the tree line. The trees kind of made the trailhead look like a tunnel with complete darkness inside. I whipped out my flashlight and started to get on the trail. I was a step and a half inside of the trail head when I was hit with a wall of fear. Dude, it must have looked like I walked into a glass wall or something. After I bounced off whatever it was, slowly walked backwards all the way to the campground with my heart thumping in my ears. It was until I got inside the campground that I could hear traffic and frogs and other wildlife. I didn't see anything, but there was sure something there. In one of the pics I took, a weird blue spot showed up to the left of the frame along with a few white spots. Could that be eyes? I don't know much about cameras, so it could be just a glitch or something. Been a fan of your channel for years now, and keep it up. Take care, Steve. Stay safe. Yes, you can use my name, Jordan Mrad. It says it's Jordan Mrad. Alright, let me take a look at this right now. That, I don't know what that is. It almost looks like it is something. It's definitely not. Usually, a lot of people get the little green orb or the blue orb on their lens, and they think it's an orb, but it's actually a dirty lens. I've done it myself dozens of times. And those do look a little... Okay, that definitely looks, the third picture looks a little odd. I'll definitely throw this up and share it with everybody. But that shade of white to me looks like the exact same shade of white to the trees to the bottom right as well. That's what I always look for when I'm glassing game. If I see something, I think it's a mountain sheep a few miles away, I automatically start looking for that similar color all over the mountain to make sure it isn't similar boulders first before I whip out my spot scope or whatever, right? So that's what I did here. I saw those two eye-shaped colors and I immediately started to look for that exact same shade of white in the photo, and yes, I did find it. So you never know. You never know. Who knows? There might be holes going through and a fluke to look like eyeballs, or it might not. I don't know. But one thing for sure is you felt what you felt and that happened, right? It's amazing. One question I do have for all of you out there, I'm curious about, I'm not sure if we've read it or not, is, because everybody says they can't hear anything, all the sound stops. But I am curious if, for all you people that have been beside a creek, right beside a river, I'm curious if the river sound goes blank as well. So do we have anybody out there listening right now who's been beside a river like I am right now? It's flowing right here. I can hear it loudest. loud and clear. Is there anybody out there who has been beside a river or in a creek and had the river sound go blank as well as the natural, the animals and the birds, the insect sounds go dead? Does the river go dead as well? I'm curious to know that one, all right? Thanks for sounding that in. And be safe out there. If you know anybody who needs some help, send them here, all right? All right, I'm trying to get to the bottom of my list. This one's titled The Unseen. It's getting dark. Hey Steve, love the channel, keep up the great work, much appreciated, man. You really do live a fantastic, beautiful place one day, eh? Keeping this as short as I can. I live in England on the south coast. It's a beautiful English countryside here, but nowhere vast as British Columbia. To the point. One autumn day a few years past, myself and my partner were walking in a small but ancient untouched wood/forest behind some stables where we looked after horses. As we were walking about 10 minutes into the wood, suddenly, very close behind us, we heard what sounded like a tree falling and crashing to the ground. Smash, crash, through the other trees, and then a loud thump as it hit the floor. Felt the ground shake too, very loud and literally 10 feet away. As we spun around, half expecting to see the bouncing tree hit the ground, to our shock, there was nothing there. Nothing. No fallen tree, not anything. Just forest floor, leaves, nothing else. As we stood looking at the ground and then each other in confusion, shock, then from behind us, again just feet away from us, we heard the sound of very heavy footfall, as though someone very big was running away from us. As I turned, half expecting to see someone playing a trick on us, nothing at all. No one, just empty forest. As we stood and looked, the running footfall ran off up a near tree line and disappeared. It was very heavy footfall. No leaves or anything moving, just the sound of something very big running away from us on 2 feet. To this day, we still have no idea what happened. I still find this shocking and extremely bizarre. Even more so as the wood we were in is only small. It's untouched, ancient woodland, but still very small by any comparison to the great forests you have. We feel something was watching us, and that's all I can say. Very, very strange. Keep up the awesome work, Steve, and thank you. Kind regards, Steve Danks, Sussex, England. Steve, thanks for that. Thanks for sending that in. Now listen, if you have, there's going to be somebody else out there, I'm certain of it, possibly from your neighborhood, that's lived that exact same experience, all right? I'll guarantee you there's other people in North America here that have. We've already heard from many of them. So if you are one of those people from Sussex and you have seen something or heard something similar, email us in, all right? And keep that ball rolling. Steve, thanks for coming forward with that, all right? Somebody out there is appreciating that big time besides me. All right. This isn't marked as red. I hope it hasn't been. Here we go. I feel like I'm going to be running out of light. Pennsylvania Encounter. Hey Steve, my name is Jason Pleasance. Feel free to use my name. You're providing a tremendous service that is much appreciated. I may not agree with all the conclusions that are shared, but that's okay with me. So I'd be a lot better off if people could accept that everybody doesn't have to agree 100%. Working through disagreements is how progress is made. Isn't that the truth? Like I said earlier, we can all take from it what we will or leave it, disagree with it, but the good thing is we're all here together no matter what, right? Hit the nail on the head. We're all here together right here no matter what in the end. This encounter took place in the mid-90s in northwest Pennsylvania, Warren County. Two events that you recently read are close to the same area, one from Jamestown, New York, and one from the same county. Although I've been listening to you for a while, I feel it's now time to share my experience with your audience. For context, I grew up in Houston, Texas. When I was 15 years old, during the summer of '92, my family bought an old farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania. It was an adjustment going from a city of over 3 million to an unincorporated township of less than 600. After realizing there was no pavement for my skateboard, I made friends and took to the country life. Over the years, we would hike the wilderness, primitive camp, and go on several-mile hunting trips to the state game lands. Such an amazing time and place. While out in the bush, we've seen and experienced many odd things that we blew up at the time. We've come across trees leaning into each other, forming tall teepee-like structures. Several of them in different spots. My buddy said it was probably caused by the weight of snow load, but nobody looked too convinced. Sometimes the trees were broken and looked intentionally placed. While roaming the forest, it wasn't uncommon for trees to fall. I don't know if it's normal, but in the 3 years I've lived there, I've probably heard 6 trees come down without wind or logging. We would get hit by acorns while hiking, or they would bounce off the tent when camping. Do squirrels throw and drop acorns on people? That's how my friends explained it at the time. I've always been a skeptical person by nature. The use of critical thinking is paramount when evaluating for the truth. Back in my teenage years, I was ready to accept these explanations. They seemed probable, and I was a city kid in the woods. The country boys must know better than me, right? I don't think I've ever evaluated these as a whole and just looked at them individually. This next experience was different. There was no easy explanation, and I had to face the reality that not everything is known. The high school I went to was in a town about 16 miles from our farmhouse. I got good grades in school, so my parents gave me a lot of freedom. I was able to do what I wanted as long as I made it home. It was before cell phones, and not knowing where everyone was at the times was a normal part of life. If I missed a school bus home, it was up to me to get there. Sometimes a friend would give me a ride, other times I walked or would hitchhike with varied success. Walking those country roads past midnight was not uncommon for me. On one trip home when I was 17, I was trekking late at night and was about 3 miles from the house. At this point, I kept hearing something moving in the woods on the west side of the road. At first, I stopped and tried to see what it was. Couldn't see anything. Just disregarded the sound and kept on my way. It happened again. It sounded like something shuffling the leaves, and it was keeping pace with me. I was concerned because I hadn't heard that before. I've walked up on a black bear before, and that was damn near silent. After a few more noises, I felt like it was intentionally letting me know it was there. And then wailed at me. I'm getting goosebumps trying to write this part down. The sound was like an infant's wail, not crying or screaming, like the sound of a crying doll would make. Wah! Wah! But it was one long wah that lasted the whole duration. The pitch sounded like a human baby and started at the same volume as a loud conversation. As the wail went on, it increased in volume and intensity. As you can imagine, this scared the shit out of me. I was a city boy alone in the middle of nowhere with something obviously wailing at me. When it first started, I kind of jumped and let out an involuntary scream of my own. In the split second I realized I was starting to scream, I changed my sound from a scared tone to a pissed off one. I started yelling at whatever was out there. I guess I yelled at it to try to show strength, to let it know I wasn't going to cower. But there was nothing I could do. I had no weapons. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel the heartbeat in my temples. It started to yell before mine, and I ran out of breath before it did. I was running tack and cross country back then. Oh, track. I'm guessing that's track. I was running track and cross country back then and had plenty good lung capacity. When it got quiet again, I stared intently into the woods and tried to make something out of the shadows, but I saw nothing. I wanted to run. I wanted to sprint like hell and put some distance between me and whatever that was. Adrenaline was flowing, and I could feel my breathing quicken and my nerves were on edge. My legs and hands were shaking from the adrenal overload. But I kept my wits about me. I knew running in the presence of predators was a big mistake. I took all the courage I had to turn around and start walking again. I walked in the middle of the road. Even though the sound came from only one side, neither side felt safe. I can't remember if I just walked the rest of the way home or if I eventually caught a ride. All I know for sure is I made it home. I've told this story to many people because I know what I saw and try to be true to myself. I've had mixed reactions, but people who know me know I don't make shit up. When I graduated from high school, I moved out of state because I was not a fan of the winters. My mom lived in the farmhouse for another 15 years before moving back to Texas. She has heard the whining baby in the woods by the old house, too. I've scoured the internet looking for that sound from a known animal and haven't found anything close to it. Some stories come close, but it wasn't a screaming lady or a crying baby exactly. No one would think that noise came from a baby. Thanks for providing the outlet to get this out. Hopefully my experience can help give someone solace or peace of mind. Best regards. Well, I hope it does too. Hope it does for you. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that your experience you just had has been experienced by frickin' dozens of people, man. Dozens. And that is enough eyewitness testimony. Should be for anybody. Alright, my encounter, Frank Martindale. Just thought I would send this story again in case you lost it. The first time you had said you lost a few stories, so here's mine again. Tell me what you think. Always could use some advice. Maybe the bright orb is some kind of portal into another world. What do you think? Read the story and give us your thoughts. You can use my name, no prob, Frank Martindale. Okay, Frank, here we go. Title: There ain't no Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan, is there? Or is there? Hello, Steve. Come across your website on YouTube a few months ago. I found it to be very interesting because of some of the things I've seen. No, this is not about Sasquatches, although I thought the name Saskatchewan was suitable anyway. That's just me. This is about 2 UFO encounters I had in Saskatchewan. I lived in a small... Alright, I'll do it. I've said before, there's a shit pile of channels out there who cater to the UFO crowd. I know it can be linked, probably is linked, but I've been trying to keep to the people who have these Sasquatch encounters so that we can bring some sort of comfort to them and help them get on their way with their outdoor passions. What I'm trying to get going here, but I'll read this out. I lived in a small hamlet called Northside, north of Prince Albert, about 40 kilometers and 50 kilometers south of the Waskiesiu National Park, just on the edge of the Boreal Forest. So the date's 93, mid-September for me and my buddy decided to go duck hunting. So we go east of the north side about 8 kilometers and head north about 5 kilometers. We come up to a swamp and it looks like a good place to sit and wait for some ducks to show up. So I get out of the truck and my buddy drives down the road about another 5K. So I head into the tall weeds that are growing around the swamp, find a good spot to sit and wait for some ducks to fly in. So after about 10 minutes, a flock of ducks are flying towards me. I'm looking at the ducks. They're about 600 feet away from me. Then out of nowhere, a bright light appears in the sky just behind the ducks. And then this orb of light shoots a beam of light at the ducks and appears to have captured a duck. And then this orb of light shoots straight up into the sky and disappeared just as fast as it appeared. And it had scared the ducks away because now they're flying in a different direction and I don't even get a shot up at these ducks because now they're gone and I'm thinking, what the hell did I just see? So I guess the aliens had some duck for supper that night. After 15 minutes, my buddy shows up and asked him, did you see that bright light in the sky? He said, no. I said, okay, let's get out of here. Also that year, there was a lot of crop circles, and a lot of people had also seen the lights in the sky. Okay, now moving on to my second UFO encounter. Yes, you can use my name, Frank Martindale. Okay, Steve, here we go. My second encounter. The year's 94, mid-September. Yes, about 1 year after my first encounter. So this time I'm north of Lac La Ronge, about 6 to 8 hours north at a place called Wathaman River. I was a bridge builder back then, so we went to a lot of remote places. So after work, we would go fishing after supper. Our camp was about 10 kilometers from the job site on this particular day. No one wanted to go fishing with me, so I jumped in the truck and headed for Wathaman River. So I'm standing on the riverbank. After about 15 minutes, I turn around, and to my amazement, there is this bright white glowing sphere hovering above the trees about 800 feet away and about 200 feet above the trees. This sphere is approximately 50 feet in diameter, and it's just hovering there. So after like 2 minutes, 3 bears come walk out of the bush, 2 cub bears, and a mother bear. So I think to myself, this is getting pretty weird, man. So I grab all my fishing gear, head back to the truck. I get to the truck, and now I'm thinking, who's going to believe me of what I just saw. So I'm looking for a camera in the truck with no luck, of course, and this sphere is still just hovering there. Well, needless to say, I didn't want to become a missing person, and all they find of me is my fishing gear on the riverbank, so I jumped in the truck and headed back to the camp, wishing I had a camera in the truck to take a picture to prove this thing was hovering in the air. I wonder, is it big? Is it big flying around in them spaceships? Is it Bigfoot flying around the spaceships? I also wonder what they want of me. And that's all I have, Steve. You can use my name, Frank Martodam. Okay, Frank, thanks, man. There's no question about it. There's somebody in the audience that has seen the same thing you have, without a doubt. The UFO thing is way more common than the typical theme that we have going on today on this channel. Way more popular. I've seen them. I said it before, a buddy of mine and I were way up northern British Columbia, top of a mountain, broad daylight, blue bomber sky, and here's this pewter-colored round ball just sitting there in the sky, and I had nothing to gauge the size of it. It looked like it was a long ways away, but not close enough to really make out any other detail, just the fact that it was pewter color around. And then all we could really do is look at each other and say, well, I guess we saw a UFO, right? What are you going to do now? And then, of course, we made jokes about it coming over and saying hi, which it didn't, thank God. Anyway, thanks for sending that in. And please, you guys, don't start flooding the inbox with UFO stories, all right? I'm trying to keep the theme of what we got going on right now. It's too much as it is, okay? And I have to help my fellow outdoorsmen and women get back out there. Oh, wow, this is a lengthy one. I'm going for it, and then that's probably going to be it.